song. Sorry, there's just something about a mic
Come
and
on.
this. And like,
Do-
can we
do
go
it.
again?
Do it.
No.
What song?
No, absolutely
Which
not.
song would you pick?
If I was to start singing like a little songbird, I'd start singing Defying Gravity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone thinks they can do it deep down. Deep down, they're like, no, if you just give me, 6 years of training, I can hit that last note.
Okay, well, I hope by the end of our conversation we hear that.
Absolutely not.
No one
a
has sung
shame.
for us yet.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
And your song, what would be your song, Josh?
My song.
It's like very...
Probably some Cornflake by Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. For instance.
What?
Okay.
Is that real?
There's a band called Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. They're one of my favorite bands. They're awesome.
Do you know, we can do some analysis on this
I
now,
am
so-
sold. Psychedelic porn. No,
Porn.
not porn. Porn.
Psychedelic
Porn
Porn
crumpets. I thought you said corn.
Oh.
Prawn.
Yeah.
As
That's
Porn.
how I got into them.
Prawn or porn?
Porn.
Porn. Okay.
Porn, yeah.
I keep trying autocorrect.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Pollyanna
yeah,
bit
yeah.
of my brain
That's
is like
TikTok.
correcting it. I'm like, no, it's porn. Excellent. I'll be doing that. What about yourself? What would you say?
I mean, I'm not going to say anything after this. I can't. It's too much information for analysis already. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Mighty Filmmakers Podcast, Rain Dance Film Festival episodes. My name is Asatuurs.
I'm Josh.
And today we're talking to Susan Wokoma.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Although I prefer how you said, you put like a little V at the beginning of Wokoma. It's Wokoma, but Wokoma I quite love.
Wokoma.
Susan Wokoma.
Susan, yes. Susan, filmmaker who will be dissecting today.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we'll try to figure out what is your filmmaking process.
cool.
Yeah. So the way we go about it is we break down your process by 5 steps.
Yep.
And we try and get those 5 steps on the whiteboard
Oh,
by the end.
amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
There we go. I guess, tell us who you are. What do you
Who
do?
am I? What do I do? Well, I'm a newly minted filmmaker, good and proper. We had our premiere here at Rain Dance with my short film, Dark Skin Bruises Differently, which I wrote, directed, starred in and produced, like actually produced. You know when people say I produced it and they didn't? I did. I know about budgets now, guys. But before that, I've been an actor for 20 years, actually 20 years this year, and then branched out into writing in like 2016, I think, and have been on quite a long process of trying to figure out what I want to say and what I want to write, as opposed to what does the industry want, what are they looking for. So that's been a really interesting journey, and it resulted in my short film, which is premiering here at Rain Dance. So that's who I am.
When you first started writing, you said it was 2016.
Yeah.
Did you find that your kind of acting background helped with that or had any sort of influence on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing that it really informed it was I was so attached to the notion that I would write something and then somebody would have to say it. So I needed it to sound like it would come out of somebody's mouth. And I think as an actor, one of the challenges, particularly now that there's no such thing really as rehearsal, you don't really get a go at it. You don't get to play with the actors, whether it's, telly or film. You don't get to sort of play around with it. And so a lot of my job was getting scripts and going, okay, how do I make this sound like a human being? And doing very gentle, respectful, changes, edits, and it can be sort of tonally how you say something, or it can be a conversation with the director or the writer if they're there, and just going, how about this? And most people are really receptive because everyone just wants to make it better. Yeah. I think there's less room to do that in theatre, for instance. So I've never sort of butted heads with people, but I have found myself constantly going, okay, how do we do this? So I have such a relationship with I write something and then I have to I have to hand it over. And so it's made me less precious as a writer, but also if I want my words to be the thing that ends up on screen, I have to really communicate why that sentence needs to be said, why that look needs to happen. And I see writing as kind of, you're the captain of a mad ship. and it's your job to convince everybody to get on the ship. Don't worry about the holes at the bottom. Just like, get on. This is great, and this is why it's great. So I feel like there's a lot of persuasion that you have to do with it, and then also being prepared to go, oh no, I didn't quite hit that, and that person's right. So that's the main thing that I think acting has helped with writing.
What would you say, looking at yourself right now at this very moment, what would you say? Who are you? Are you a filmmaker?
Ooh.
Are you a director? Are you a screenwriter?
Oh my God.
Or you said you produced as well. So,
yeah.
so what do you say? How do you respond to that question?
How do I respond? I say filmmaker now, because I think filmmaker holds everything, doesn't it? And I feel that to a certain degree, we're all filmmakers. I think when I was just acting, I always knew that I wanted to start writing and eventually direct, but I thought that was going to be something that I start like in my 50s. Like I genuinely, I'm. If anyone believes in like astrology, I'm a Capricorn, and so we sort of believe that life begins later. Like genuinely, it's like I'll get serious later. That's when it's like all gonna fall. And so when I started exploring it in my 20s, I was a bit like, no, this is too early. But I thought this is why my process has been quite. I've allowed myself to have time. I haven't been pressured by like I need to produce something. I'm like, no, what do I really want to write? So yeah, I would say that I'm a filmmaker, and I feel like I always have been, and I feel like actors are. I feel like the gaffer is. I feel like, you know, costume are filmmakers, and you know, we're all filmmakers. But I think it's taken me a long time to be able to say that and not cringe after I say it.
I like the idea of, like, you know, you've taken your time over things. Would you say, like, when you're coming up with like ideas for scripts and things and development, would you say like you like to take some time during that process?
I'm quite fast with development.
really?
I feel like what happens with taking my time is I take my time to share what is cooking in my brain, but I have a lot of projects. Like if you ask quite a lot, I'm sure if you ask quite a lot of commissioners right now, they will tell you we're June, right? They will tell you that they've seen maybe 6 or 7 scripts ideas pass through like at the moment, but these are ideas and projects that I've been working on for years, and it just sort of happens that they're all kind of ready to try and find a home, which we have done with a few of them, and with a lot of them, no, it's just the wrong timing, it's not quite right for the channel and all that sort of thing. But I think that that's fine. I think I don't want to be responsive to the industry, I feel like, or reactive to the industry. I really want to just put out what I want to write, and so that does mean that it takes time. I might just sit on something and be like, no, but most of my ideas have been cooking in my brain for like a decade.
I guess that's it. That's our first step, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that. Don't be reactive.
No. I think you can be reactive to the world. But I mean very specifically the industry. Like a lot of the stuff that was being said at the beginning of the year was people saying we just want broad comedy is what we're looking for. We're looking for broad comedy at the moment. That's all we're looking for. We don't want to reflect what's going on in the world because it'll make people depressed. And then adolescence happened.
Yeah.
And you go, well, yeah, you can't really second guess what people want. Being reactive to the world, but in terms of the industry, like, forget that.
Stop chasing.
Yeah.
Stop
Doesn't
chasing.
work.
It's impossible to predict, right? And was it William Goldman said something like, nobody knows anything?
No, that's huge. Most people are just pretending. And that's what I mean about when I realised being the captain of the ship and going, oh, I have to... Actually, a lot of my job as a writer and as a director is putting people at ease and going, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, I got this. No, this is what this is. Even if internally I'm like, I've got no idea. Yeah, but no one knows. No one knows. They're lying. If the people are like definitive with stuff, they're lying. Yeah,
that's going very quickly for me now. You know? Next one already. I have next one, which is put people at ease.
Yeah, I think so.
I think say that's part of your job, the biggest part. I'd
say so, because this is also like not what I've thought all the time. Sometimes I can get people, not just me, can get very frustrated with the development process, particularly with television and people not being brave and taking a chance on you. And I think that frustration is very real. And And that frustration can be used to galvanize yourself. So then you end up writing, directing and starring in a short film. But I also believe that there has to be a generosity of spirit. I think that if you've been knocked and knocked and knocked, you can sort of present a script with a lot of kind of like angst, when actually no one needs to make your thing. You're not entitled. They don't have to give it to you. If it's public money, they've got to justify the public money. Like, it's not yours. So don't be entitled. Like, the way that you can be entitled is you just go off and make it yourself. But when it comes to involving other people, they're other people. And so you do need to galvanize people. You need to create a gang. You need to get them all excited and everyone. I think that a lot of the time you can sort of galvanize half the team, which is like above the line, the actors, the producers, all those people, and then you forget about the crew. Whereas I think it's so important that everyone feels a sense of pride and ownership over it. So when I was filming, I was very transparent to everyone about how I work, and I had an open rehearsal. If you wanted to drop in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you could. Like, nothing was precious in that way. So yeah, you do have to you have to rally. You've got to be Boudica or Boadicea and at the front and being like, let's go and do this mad thing.
Yeah, I like that kind of approach when you clearly realize and understand nobody owes you anything. No. And, and actually people are giving you, they're giving you your time, their time.
Yeah.
And that's crazy, and that's very valuable. That's all we have.
It's all we have. Time is the big, and so when people read, it still blows my mind if I write something and I give it to somebody and they get excited and their eyes light up. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, that we're aligned in this moment. And I think those are the moments, those are the things that are really important, is trying to get people who are excited by your project, whose eyes light up, and then your time is valuable and it's well used because you're working with people who love your project, even if it doesn't fly and get made.
Drop-in rehearsals. You mentioned
Yes.
drop-in rehearsals. I want to know more. What is that?
So drop-in rehearsals are, well, I believe in rehearsal. I think it's one of the stupidest mistakes. If we're talking very practically in terms of money and time, you will save so much time if you rehearse. Don't wait until you're on set and then you're doing, you're blocking it, and then the actor has this question and this person, and then you're hours before you start rolling. I roll my eyes every time that happens. I'm like, you could just have saved all this time. So as a filmmaker, I feel like you spend your resources on that prep, you get it tight, and then when you're on set, you're just putting out any fires that come out rather than the whole building is burning all the time. And I think there's something about preparation that people don't like when it comes to film. It's, it's got to be sort of gritty and there's space for that. There's, certain kinds of filmmaking that allow that. But again, this is people's time. People don't see their kids. They can't put their kids to bed. Some people are carers, and they all leave their home and they all come to your set, and then can I swear? No, I won't swear. And they all doss around. Sorry, I'm surprised that that's the first time that I brought that up. And they all just doss around. And so with rehearsal, what it does for the actors, it gives them a sense of calm. They know what's coming. They've met the other actors. What I try and do, obviously location does change at last minute sometimes, but what I'll do is I'll show as much as the location. I have pictures and videos to be like, this is the space, this is where you'll be in, because that's quite scary, turning up and you've never been somewhere and it's your home or it's your bedroom or it's a room where you get the news that your son's died, but you don't know how the chair works. It's all about getting that familiarity, hearing what are the questions that arise. The actors can be with each other and see what the other actor brings out in them. And so I understand that we've got to protect that space so that actors feel secure. But in terms of open rehearsals, it's just saying to anybody, pop in, watch. Not that thing of when you do the read through and then everyone leaves. I really feel like it's important, even if it's just to say hi, because it makes people feel like they have ownership. And then if they say, I can't because I'm a carer, I've got kids, then that's fine. But they know that they've had that option.
That's great as well. Open rehearsals. Would you put that as one of the big steps of your process?
I think so. I think so, because I think also for actors, you can get quite precious with the work, and I feel like there does need to be a slight openness, because at the end of the day, you then are on set doing it in front of loads of people, so you might as well start doing that quite early.
You know, and it all makes sense actually. If we talk about children usually they are much more happy when they are familiar with what's going to happen next. So you know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And to be fair, such a simple concept, and we do require that. We want to know what's going to happen next.
We do.
Where am I going to spend my time for next month, for example?
And in that, there's freedom and spontaneity, I think. So it's funny that you mentioned children. There's this study, and I'm going to absolutely balls it up. But there's a study with 2 groups of children. So it's children who, very young children who'd had quite traumatic beginnings of their lives, and then children who had very secure beginnings of their lives. And they asked these children to bring in their favourite toy. And then they would ask the children, hey, would you like a new toy? And the children who had much more secure beginnings of their lives were really receptive to the new toy. And then the traumatized children didn't. They wanted to keep what was familiar. And I think that, you know, not to equate something so serious to filmmaking, but I do think that is what it is. If you have a sense of familiarity and safety, then when you say, hey, do you want to try this? Actually, let's just try this. Or, oh my gosh, this location is flooded. We need to go out here and do it outside in the field. People go, yeah, okay, cool, let's do that. Whereas if you're just throwing people into it, that's where you can get, you know, people who are acting out of fear, which then can be ego, which then can, you know, it's a whole mess.
You've talked a lot about like the importance of preparation and how that can help keep people feeling at ease. And your approach to working with actors seems quite interesting. But do you have like any specific techniques and approaches you take to the visual side of your work? Yeah.
So I actually got quite a lot of advice from Alice Lowe, who is brilliant. Because my thing was, I sort of get it emotionally how you do this, but like, what's the nuts and bolts of doing this? And I mean, first and foremost, which wasn't what Alice told me, but something that I absolutely stand by, like, choose your team really carefully. I have done that thing where I have developed projects with the first people who've been interested in what I'm doing. Wrong. Do your homework, meet loads of people, see who align with you. So first and foremost, I think as a director, I co-produced my short with a wonderful producer called Maeva de Merger. I could not have done it without her. She had my back. As a director, you need to find your producer. Who is the person who's going to have your back? Who's the person who's going to challenge you? Who's the person who's going to protect you at times? You need, that relationship is core. If it isn't working, if you feel like they don't have your back, it will not work. I don't believe in just getting the thing over the line, getting the film in the can. I've always said how you make the sausages is as important as the sausages themselves. I'm not interested in struggle life. Life outside is really hard. I don't care for it. Oh, there's got to be... A producer actually said to me, because I wanted to choose a DOP that I really liked and that I was familiar with. And she said, you know, oftentimes you work on features and everyone really gets on set. And then the end product is so-so. But then you get features where there's a lot of friction and it's quite acrimonious, but then the end product is brilliant. I was like, girl, I don't subscribe to that. Like, we're not doing that. Have you seen what's going on the streets? We don't need to do this when we go to work. But then it allows for, if there are moments of tension, then you can deal with that. But when it's just tension from the go, what? No. So I don't subscribe to that. So your producer is huge. And then your DOP. You need somebody who is absolutely with you, with your vision, understands your vision, but also knows how to elevate it. I worked with an amazing DOP called Ben Cotsgrove, who is, firstly, one of the sweetest men I've ever met, but a true visionary and so kind and really gentle and really understood and respected me as an actor, which is so important when you're then going in front of the camera. He wasn't sort of backseat directing the thing, but I gave him a lot of trust. You know, there'd be times I was in front of the camera, I'm like, if you feel like there's something that's off, even if you don't have the acting performance vocabulary, just say, let's go again. Just, I give you that. And he was a bit like, really? I was like, yeah. Just, I need all these eyes. But that's because I trusted everybody to be like, maybe go again. That line was a bit, and you just take it. So I feel like who you choose to work with is vital. And then visually, me and Ben had so many conversations about like what were my reference points and what were, you know, we did really detailed storyboarding, even though I can't draw, but that's fine. Stick men are fine. And so we did that, and then we would go to the location and we would take, you know, we had stand-ins as well. Our rehearsals, we used stand-ins when certain actors, because we had a few actors with disabilities in our short. So we had to cater for them, and so we had some stand-ins, and and so we were really detailed about what we were going to capture, and again, that then allows, when you go, okay, this is our shot list, not just the shot list, but we can see what the shots are. Then you get in the room, and then you might be like, actually, the light is better here, or the light has changed and this is better, or this wall is crazy, we don't want that in the background, we wanted to do it here. But that's because we were singing from exactly the same hymn sheet. So I believe in being really meticulous, and it makes and I shared that with everyone. Everyone got a copy. Whether you looked at it before day one is up to you. But I was like, this is what we will be shooting, everyone. This is it. It's not over here and protective. And we had 2 days to shoot, and it was slick as hell. And it shouldn't have been.
I think that's, choose your team carefully is a really good fourth step. But I really liked what you said about like the friction on set, because I feel like that's been used as like an excuse for a lot of toxic kind of behavior.
I wanted to backtrack to that as well.
Yeah,
actually.
let's talk about it.
That's an interesting one.
Let's talk about it.
You're completely right. There are projects which are too comfortable.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes almost nothing.
Yeah.
And then there is kind of the opposite kind of situation. So I'm wondering, how do you specifically manage these situations, and did you allow for that type of manipulation on your set or not, or how does that work?
Manipulate? Never, not on my set. Absolutely not. Zero policy of that. I have it's such a gift being an actor, because I have been on so many different sets. I also have had quite a varied career. I've done like big studio films, I've done tiny Channel 4 pilots, I've done like everything in between, and you cannot convince me that being unprepared and being kind of like kind of messy with it is the best filmmaking. Everyone is pissed off. Everybody. You can see, I've seen it in real time, when a director loses their crew, when the crew are eye rolling and they walk away and they do like 2 fingers up behind their back, and it's horror. Like, it's when the crew is going to turn, I'm like, oh boy, no, you don't want that. There was one particular instance where I know I literally got someone will go to prison. Can't talk about that, but it's not worth it, because actually I think even if the end product is great, let's just say the film ends up like winning loads of awards and everything, I've seen, you know, those people at certain award ceremonies, and they're miserable and they're angry. Don't stand next to me. I don't want you near me in this picture as you're holding this award. People crying, people going, I'm never working in film again. It's how you lose us. If the experience is so awful, that's how you get crew who go, I'm not coming back, and you lose wonderful talent. Just because you've got a shiny thing, that's great. But how many people go up on that stage who worked on that project? It's like 5 of you who go up and be like, well done. Listen, of course, you don't want too much comfort. You don't want somebody who's not going to challenge you and be like, I don't think that's the best shot. I don't think that's a really good line here. Of course you need that. That's why I say have people you trust, because people you trust will tell you the truth. Maeva, my producer, is very French and very blunt. And there are sometimes she says things to me, I'm like, oh, damn. But I love it. I absolutely love that kind of like cutting through to it. I'm telling you the truth. So yes, you don't want people who are going to be like, yes, whatever, because that creates a certain kind of toxicity, which I've also observed when people don't tell you the truth. But I have to say, I would rather risk everyone being happy on set than friction. I hate it. It really upsets people. I'm normally the guy that certain crew members tell me. They tell me they're not sleeping. They tell me they've caught cystitis because they're not allowed to go to the loo. And eventually that can cause infertility. Things like that. But it really, really upsets me. So I would rather everyone have a good time and we make art that doesn't necessarily like rip the eyeballs out of viewers. Like genuinely, I think that's how I work. And I can leave the mavericks who want to traumatize everyone on set to them, and they can win Oscars and stuff.
I know that. There is one big question. I think we had number 4 already, didn't you,
Oh,
Josh?
sorry, I'm like racing through.
No, that's
Yeah,
great.
no, I
What
think
was
that,
number 4?
the pick your crew carefully and trust.
Shall we put
People you
that?
trust.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
So
definitely.
pick people you trust, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
That sounds good. Producing, you're talking about producer quite a lot, and I know that, especially in a genre, in short films and in like smaller projects, or for example, Raindance Film School students, they always ask one question, and that question is, how do I find a producer for my work?
It's hard. Also finding the right producer. I would say, so my producer Maeva, we have been friends for 10 years, and I met her when she was predominantly acting, and then she's gone on this journey in her life, and now she's a brilliant producer. And I was actually in a short of hers as an actor the year before, and so I watched her. I watched how she produced the thing, and I thought, God, she's really good. I want to work with her. So I think it's about making friends. It's about getting to know people. It's about not, your path isn't certain. I'm sure when I met Maeva 10 years prior, she wasn't thinking of being a, boots on the ground producer, which is what she does predominantly now. And so I think a lot of the really amazing relationships I've had have been over time. And that's one thing that I've learned. Of course, you can meet people, have a really great instant rapport, and that really works. You meet them at, go to film festivals, speak to people, do the networking, reach out. Like if you watch something, if you watch a short and there's a producer that you really like, reach out, ask for a coffee. Especially now, the industry is in a really, really weird place. People who are sort of going, no, I don't want to have a coffee, are idiots. I feel like this more than ever is the time to go, hey, do you have like an hour? Can we just talk? I'm not asking anything of you, but let's just kind of cross paths. I think that you've got to be proactive about finding your tribe, but also understanding that anyone can be that person. I didn't know that me and Maeva would end up at Rain Dance with a film together. So I think it's networking, being proactive, reaching out to people, but also understanding that deep relationships, good partnerships take time. They develop over time.
I wanted to ask you about kind of joining all these positions, and you're saying, I'm a filmmaker and I'm a producer now as well, and I'm everything. And what is the big part of your kind of how does your process look like? How do you differentiate these positions, or you don't? Or how does it work for you?
That's a really good question. I didn't think too much about it. I think when I got to the point of making this short, I was just like, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it with people who can make it work and people that I like. And I'd been through a process. I've got to be very careful about talking about it, but I've been through a process where I was developing a project, and it sort of ended in a ball of fire, to be quite honest. And it was really shocking. It was really, really upsetting and very depressing. And I sort of let myself be depressed. And then I thought, okay, how do I claim this back? And I just thought, I just want to make something and complete it. I want to make a film. I don't care about film festivals or whatever. I want to make it, and I want to make it with people that I really like and respect. And so I didn't go into it thinking, I'm going to be a producer. Honestly, it's out of all the things, that's the one that I really don't want to touch. Like, please let somebody else do it. But the way that I ended up being a producer is that I self-funded the short. Not for that much. We shot it all for $11,000. And that was just for production. We got all our post asking favors. We got our location a favor. Like, it was, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. You ask for favors. But I did that, and Maeva, who is brilliant, she did say, don't do that. A good producer will be like, don't use your own money. But I was so desperate. I was so sad. And I'd done Taskmaster, and I thought, okay, people who know Taskmaster, hello. And I thought, okay, I did that, you know, because I don't just do acting. I do other podcasts. I do some quiz shows. I've sort of entered the comedy space, and I always said to myself, I can do that and squirrel away some money in case I want to make something. And so the time came. I was so desperate. I needed to make something. So when I convinced Maeva, I'm absolutely sure about this, you can trust me, I don't spend money that I expect back, like, it's gone to the gods, let's go. She was like, okay, so you're a producer. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, you've got to be across where all this goes. And I was like, oh shit, I don't want that. I just wanted to give you it and then you do it. But what was great about Maeva is that I asked the stupid questions. What does that mean? Why do we need that? Oh, actually, I really want that. How much is that going to cost us? And as we worked together, because she was so transparent, I knew where all this money was going, and going, no, we've got to make sure that everyone gets paid this. We need to have parity across the board, all of this sort of stuff. I didn't take a fee, obviously. I had loads of people who loved the script and wanted to just be a part of it. So we were very, very, very lucky. But so that was by accident. Producing was by accident. But in terms of like all the other aspects of it, so directing, writing and directing is how I want to be a director. I'm not that moved to direct projects that I haven't written. And that what that gives you as a director, because I think what often happens is, and again, I've seen this as an actor, you have a writer with their idea of how it is, and then you have a director who sort of comes over and goes, nah, and then you get the writer crying. Or sometimes it's wonderful and harmonious. But as a writer-director, you just know the project. So you're a better captain. You're like, okay, picture this, an interior, you can sell it to everybody. And they're like, yeah, you've got the answers. But also as well, because you have several drafts of the thing, to several versions of it. So when somebody comes up to you and goes, actually, I think at this point we could have this, it reminds you of a draft where you're like, yeah, actually, I did do that, but I second guessed myself. That's great. You know what's all the different possibilities. You have actors going, maybe the character can be a bit more like this. You've had different, like 3, 4, 5, 7 different versions of that character. So you understand that you have to be malleable as a writer, because you don't just write it and be like, that's it. So when people come to you, you're so much more receptive as a director, as a writer. And I think the biggest job was directing and acting, because I have a very hands-off approach to acting, which is I perform, you give me notes, I do it, and it's none of my business. I'd never go to Video Village. I never look at playback. I don't care. So some actors are like, I need to see it. I'm like, nope, unless it's a stunt. Or if it's a sex scene, sometimes I'll do that with an intimacy coordinator, which are the best things to happen to us. I don't care what anyone says. What we were doing before was wild. Just throwing people together and going, rut. It's so strange, weird. What? No, we've got to have some form of HR. Anyway, but other than that, I never look. So I was like, okay, so that was the biggest thing. How do I maintain my process as an actor, but be a director who's got to be across all of it? And that's where Alice Lowe came in. So Alice Lowe, she's had 2 features, Time Stalker, which is a recent one, and Prevenge. And so I reached out to her. Again, this is it, reach out to people. And I just said, how did you do it practically? She went through her process. And so what I decided to do was, when we're shooting one scene, I would look at playback after the first take. And then after that, I would not look at playback again. I would direct within the scene. And when I feel like we have it, then I'll bookend it and check. And normally if we have time, we'll do like okay, I feel like we've got it. You can do this take, do whatever you want. That was the best process, because as far as I was concerned, I've done all that homework with Ben, our DOP. I know what it looks like. We have a stand-in, so I get to see how the shot looks, the frame, everything. and then I'm there with the actor. Because I've had the experience where a director performer didn't really let me into their process. And so what would happen is after a take, they would like disappear. And I'd be sat there going, was that bad? Was that good? No. And then they just come back and they're back with me. And then they go to the monitor again. And it creates so much fear in the actor. They start freaking out. So even that process, before we started shooting on day one, we had everybody, our whole crew, and I explained it. I was like, this is my process. I will do this. I will be here. I'll be at the monitor at this point, and I will be on set. When I am on set, that's where you can find me if you've got something to tell me. But I'll be here, not moving anywhere. And so everyone was like, cool, that's where she is. And so it wasn't a mystery process for anybody, which I think, again, people go, okay, I know what she's doing. It's not like the actors are over here doing this thing and we're over here. So that was the biggest. It was directing and the way I perform, which is I leave myself alone. I don't want to be self-conscious, but you have to be across it visually, including yourself. So that was the biggest leap, and I've got a lot to thank Alice Lowe for that.
So I'm wondering now, because we have quite a few steps, and we have.
I know. Sorry, there's a lot of steps
left,
in this,
which is great. No, it's great. It's great. So I'll just summarize a few of your steps. So one was, I guess, demystify the process. That could be one.
Yeah.
Another one which I noticed was about finishing your film, finishing your work, finalize
just
it, get it done, just make it.
Yeah.
That was great as well.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What do we do?
Do you know
one?
what? I say finalize it. Just make it as perfect, imperfect. I think that there is something so satisfying about completing a project and telling a story and having it done, especially in our industry where there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of second guessing, you know, and things don't get done, they don't get completed. So I think for your sense of creative achievement, it's actually really vital, because no one can then take that from you. It's like when people say, write a book, just write the book. Because then once you've written the book, whether it gets published or not, you've written a book. Like if you want to write a film, write the film, because then you've got the script. No one can be like, nah, that didn't happen. You've written a script. So I think for our sense of purpose and satisfaction, get it done.
Yes, I have to say, thank you, Suzanne. It was a great conversation.
Thanks for having me.
And it was exciting to look at your process, and it is different. I have to say, like every single conversation, we discover something new, and it's amazing. It's great. I'm loving it. So, thank you so much. Where can we find you? Where can we see your stuff? And
where can you see me? I mean, by the time this goes out, it will be done. Our rain dance. But we're going to be at a few more festivals of Dark Skin Bruises Differently. That's my short film. Can't say them yet because they haven't been announced. But we have a few more festivals, good festival run. And in terms of finding me, oh God, I'm on Instagram at SusieWoozy12. Listen, I've been told so many times to change the handle. I refuse. I will not have it at Susan Wokoma. Boo. I'm never taking that thing seriously. I'm on there kind of. I promote like my work, but not too much. You can't DM me. I've closed the DMs, but I'm there, and I'm around. That was bad self-promotion. Thank you very much.
I mean, you still have a chance to sing that song, though.
Absolutely not. But can you see that I sort of want it?
You do.
No.
Do.
I'm not going to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you. My 5 steps are, number 1, don't be reactive to the industry. Don't just make things because that's what they want. What do you want to make? Number 2, put people at ease. You're the captain of the ship. You have to invite people on the ship with your crazy ideas and convince them that it's brilliant. Number 3, open rehearsals. Make your process open to all the crew, all the cast, so that people all have ownership of the thing. Number 4, pick people you trust to work with. It's so important that you like them. It's like a marriage when you make something. And number 5, just finish it. Finish the project. Get to the end. It gives you such creative satisfaction.